Final Fantasy 14 Dawntrail was announced. I'll roll the trailer here in the background. It's definitely a reset. It's definitely the beach episode for Final Fantasy 14. I don't want to say spoiler. You're going to the new world, I guess is how you would say that.
Filler expansion?
A lot. So that's a lot of the complaints is a weird term. That's a lot of the criticism of what was shown is that people are worried that it's going to be inconsequential and it's not going to have meaning. But like with what happened in the prior expansion, what the fuck do you
where
want
do you
them
go
to
from
do?
here?
They have to reset things. They have to like set up a new arc. It has to be a thing.
By the way, can I just say,
ginger.
Here's the thing.
Like in between
okay,
bites of awesome sushi, this is the ginger. It's like, here's your palate cleanser. Okay, now try the next thing.
Yeah.
We're asking questions knowing that we don't know the answers because, audience, no one has played it yet.
Yeah.
So for us to say, is this the filler episode? And you go, no, of course it's not. No, it's not filler.
Look, man.
See, here's the thing.
14 fans are passionate. Okay.
You haven't played it either. So I love your enthusiasm, but to say that immediately shows
they're passionate, man. You got to be careful.
Kixel says Yoshi P answer this. Yoshi P is not going to tell you he's releasing a filler expansion. I mean, really? Come on, man.
Also,
yes,
if
this is the filler expansion. You could just skip this one if you want. It's really inconsequential overall.
I noticed a couple times already that JP says they or them when referring to Final Fantasy 14 people, as if he's not one of them or a leader of them.
it's that disassociative.
Sure. Well, yeah, I guess when I referred to they or them, it's the naysayers, right? Because I'm not perhaps one of them. I'm excited.
Real talk. If it's not filler, then it would basically have to be starting a new arc or something.
It's starting a new adventure. Yeah.
Yeah. So is this like, I could see it not being filler, but I mean, it would have to be relatively wildly different than everything we've seen so far. Have they announced exactly what it is? Is this the new arc's beginning?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. I mean, it's 7.0. So they're starting a new story. They talked a little bit about what the story is in terms of like, you're going to the new world and you're going to see that new world, which you have not seen yet, or heard talked about. And there's a change of leadership potentially happening. And so you're going to kind of deal with that leadership. I think Jesse Cox, who was there in person at FanFest and experienced all that, he had a pretty good theory of what it is on his Twitter account in terms of the greater story. But I don't want to get into that because it's major spoilers for the actual game itself.
You said it's on his Twitter?
It should be, yeah, at the end of one of his threads. If I can find it or type it in the Drop Frames Discord.
I'm a little curious.
But if that is the case, then I'm pretty excited for that moving forward. We didn't get in. They said that they are going to be showing, they will have 2 new classes. Yoshi P had a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle shirt on, which is usually how they leak classes.
Okay. I just saw his idea and that, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, given what happens at the end of Endwalker in that one scene, they kind of talk about that.
Are they going like old Miss Pandaria with this shit? Like with Nindo and like turtles?
I don't know. He was wearing it on screen. Yeah. Ninjas and pirates or something. I don't know.
I will say, I hate to say it, but even that suggestion could be a giant filler arc in itself, though. Like
potentially, yeah.
Like it's good. I'm very. I'm gonna be there. A lot of people have asked me because I stopped playing Final Fantasy 14 after I finished Endwalker.
Right.
But they're kind of like, "Are you done with it?" No, I'm not done with it. I'm definitely planning on. I mean, Endwalkers was the whole arc was amazing. But it's interesting because, like I've realized with Final Fantasy 14, it's not really an MMO to me. It's more of like a multiplayer RPG, but it's not really like an MMO. I don't really have an urge to just kind of like exist in Final Fantasy 14 like I do other MMOs.
Right.
But I love the main story and I love seeing those cutscenes for the first time. And it really does. It's a very unique beast in terms of how it feels more like a single player game. like more importantly, not like an existing world, but a linear story. Like that's why I play 14, and I can't wait to play more of that.
They're kind of positioning it to be that in a lot of ways, with the fact that they, I think, just said in 6.5, the next patch, that every dungeon will now be able to be played with AI. So you don't even have to see people to play every dungeon in the game. You still have to see people to do the trials. So you can't play through the whole main story by yourself. You still have to interact with 7 other people every once in a while, as well as the Alliance raid, which is 23 other people every once in a while. But every MSQ dungeon is playable in October with AI, which is kind of cool.
There you go.
If you don't want to interact with other humans and play a game by yourself, play a single player story that arguably might be one of the best Final Fantasy stories to exist, you could do that.
Definitely the most content.
Yeah. That was, so a couple of the other announcements. Stormblood is now a part of the free trial, which means you get basically 150 to 250 hours for
now
free.
It's even more critically acclaimed.
Yeah, it's even more critically acclaimed. That was pretty big. And then things that got like the community excited, which when I say this to people that have not played the game, they'll be like, what? You're going to be able to use 2 dies on a single piece of gear now.
What?
And so that's fucking huge. That's like the biggest announcement in the fucking...
Oh, like a primary and secondary color?
Yeah. On a singular piece of gear, which is like huge.
Pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
So big. Yeah, so big that like the guild, the auction house just erupted the next day in prices for different
that's
dies.
they're making that so all existing armor can be two-toned.
They're gonna go back and do as much armor as they can. Yeah. The dye market
actually
is
huge.
wild.
I can finally get the white and red color scheme I was going for.
Exactly.
I was not able to do. That's awesome. It's actually awesome.
That was there. There's another thing that's really getting in the weeds about alliance queuing, that you can't drop your gear score to the lowest possible gear score to queue for one of the alliance raids, so that you can just play the same fucking alliance raid over and over. And so that was another big deal.